Let's create again. Facts lead trigger, clicking on the lead, submit. So this is the trigger. This is the basic instance of a trigger. Trigger, trigger name, on, object name, and then we have an instance. Before trigger, before insert, after insert, before update, after the update, before insert, after insert, before update, after undelete, and after delete and undelete. Okay, so that instances we wrote over up here, and we have a trigger name, on, object name. That is okay. So right now we are in the how to write a trigger. Right now we are in the we are getting learn about that how to write a trigger, how to design a trigger. So before getting into that how to design a trigger, we need to learn something more about some trigger features, or what the different types that trigger is provided, or what's how the trigger is working. So for that, let's trigger framework. Trigger framework. This is so let's first remove it and just work for the one instance at a time. Okay, so I just imported a method. We generally use this in this way. I mean, we generally do this. I just generally do this copy and paste and put on all the operation type. Okay, operation type means that just because the same trigger will work for all the six instances. Before insert, after insert, before delete, after delete. So same trigger will work for that. Okay, same trigger will work for every place. So that's why we what we did, we just create all the instances. Okay, all the instances. And if suppose we need to do something on before trigger, so we will write code here and just do the before trigger, which what we have to do in the before trigger. Similarly, what we have to do in the after before update, what we have to do in before delete, what we have to do in after insert, what we have to do in after update. Okay, it's depend, means it's a, so whatever we have to do, we just means whenever, means what, at what time we need to do what type of a code, it depends. And we just switch on the trigger operation type, because these are the operation type: before insert, before update, before delete. These are the operation type. So this is the operation type that we got it, and we just like switch on trigger operation type, and when it is before insert, then do something. Okay, before insert, do something, before update, do something, before delete. So right now we are working only with the before insert, so I will remove rest of the code and just work on the before insert. Okay, so that's the first thing we need to do whenever we start working on the trigger. First, we need to specify that when the trigger will execute. This is because our best practice says that there will be only one trigger per object. Okay, there will be only one trigger per object. That is the reason why we are using trigger operation type. Okay, so for different use cases, we will use same trigger, and we check that if the trigger is before insert, then execute this piece of information. If trigger is before update, then execute this piece of a code. Okay, so something like that means, let's suppose that before insert, let's calculate the age. After insert, let's when the record is created, after, if we have to perform after insert, let's create some records or let's send the email. So for that we need to write a code, and that is the reason, since we, for two instances, means let's say in the before insert, let's suppose that I need to calculate the age, and after insert I need to send an email. So we are not going to write two different triggers for that. We write one trigger, and with the help of a operation type, we will separate them when the system, when the trigger do what, when the trigger will execute what it has to do. So it works in this way. So that tells our the trigger best practices, that there will be one trigger per object. Okay, one trigger per object, because there is a reason that why we are using one trigger per object. Because let me zoom it so that you guys can. Oh, last time I did something. Yeah. Okay, there will be one trigger per object, because when we have more than one trigger, okay, when we have more than one trigger, then order of execution will not be guaranteed. Okay, means if 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 we have a more than one trigger, okay, if we have a more than one trigger, then order of execution we cannot guarantee. We cannot guarantee that which trigger will execute first. Okay, if we have a more than one trigger, then more than one trigger for the same instance. Okay, then order of execution of the trigger we cannot guarantee. We cannot guarantee the which trigger will execute first. So it will make the things worse. So what we have to do, we don't have to create, we just need to create one trigger per object. So as a result, we created one trigger for this object, only one trigger, and yeah, for different operation type, meaning before insert, after insert, for different operation types, we will use this kind of command and just perform the operation. Okay, so that is our first best practice. Second thing, not second best practice, let's learn about, just I talked earlier that before getting into the trigger, we need to know something, that what trigger is providing and how we work on the trigger. So before getting into the trigger more details, what we will do, sorry, not what we will do, we will learn that there is a thing that is provided by out of box or by standard way that trigger is providing, is called trigger.new. Okay, what is the trigger.new? Trigger.new is a list of S object. Okay, I'm saying a word S object because it can be, since we are defining the trigger on the lead, then trigger.new is list of lead. Okay, that is the thing, meaning list of S object. That's why I'm saying that this is trigger.new is a list of S object, because if we are creating trigger on the lead, trigger.new will be list of S object. If we are creating trigger on contact, then trigger.new is list of contact. If we are creating trigger on account, then trigger.new is a list of account. Similarly, it goes on. If we are creating trigger on the custom object, so it will be list of that particular custom object. But still, it's always be a list of that particular object on which we are defining the trigger. So that is the property of a trigger, that is providing us a trigger.new on which we need to perform the operation. So it is a list of lead, that's correct. But what record it present? Does this contain all of the lead records or which records? Question arises. Next question, Karan. Now we got that this trigger.new is a list that contains leads. Now, which leads it contains in it? It contains all of the leads, or there is a filter, or what is happened? So the answer is that it contains the list of leads, meaning it contains the leads. That's correct. It contains those records on which the database is going to operate. Meaning, let's suppose that I'm creating a lead record with some XYZ details. So it will contains a list, okay, list of lead, and in that list of leads, that record is present in that, in which going to insert, which is going to insert. Okay, not about all of the records, but it's not stored. This list of lead record does not store all of the records. It stores the records. It will have the records which on which we are going to, in which there is a change in the database going to happen. So if we are, let's suppose that we are creating the lead which XYZ details, then it will contains the list of lead in which that XYZ lead is present in that. So let's see that how it looks like and how it's working. So trigger.operation type before insert. So as I mentioned earlier, that whenever there is a trigger, there is a loop. Sorry, whenever there is a list, there is a loop. So here trigger.new is a list of lead. So if we have to design a loop, so we have a for. That is our existing loop syntax that we learned earlier. This one, this is the same syntax. It will also work here. For data type of the list, data type of the list is lead, variable name, LD, colon, set name or list name, anything you can say that. So we have a trigger.new. Okay. So for lead, I just use the LD for the variable name and then trigger.new. Now let's put a debug and check that what does this system dot debug, and here I will type first name as we did earlier in the previous SQL example. Let me open. Okay, so in just like that here, if we have to extract any field from the object, we use dot operator. Okay, we use dot operator to get the value. Similarly, same concept is also applicable here. So for the if I need to get first name, so I will type lead dot first name. Similarly, if I need to get the lead any other value, so lead dot last name. Let's also type here last name. again, email or phone. So okay, save it. Okay, after saving, let's check it that what it will present in the debug. Now, in order to execute our Apex class, we use execute anonymous, and then we check the logs here. Okay, but this this will execute when, as I mentioned, that trigger will automatically execute when there is a change in the database. Whenever the database changes, it will execute. So we design a trigger that when the record is inserted. So before insert means that when the record is inserted. Before and after is an instance of a trigger, means what we have to do. But the thing is that when it will execute, that's depend on the DML, what DML we choose in. So we choose here insert. So it will execute whenever we create a lead record. So when we create a lead record, it will create this trigger will execute and it will create a log for us. So let's go ahead and create a lead record. Okay, I created, I fill the details, and now I'm going to save that information. The information is saved. Now let me check the logs. Logs are creating on the developer console. So in the developer console, logs are got created. Let's open it. And let's click on debug. Oh, I think I'm the wrong log. Okay. So you will see that it's sending me logs here in this way. So what I write here, the debugs, it's populated over up here. So it might be the question arises why there is a loop, means since it contains only one information. So why there is a need to write a loop? There's no need to do so. Since there is a one record, so why there is a need to write a loop? So the question answer is that right now we are creating the lead from the standard UI. Standard UI. We created the lead from the standard UI. So that's why it contains only one record at a time. But let's suppose that I am importing the lead from the data loader. So at that moment, I have thousands of leads, and thousands of leads are created at the same time. So that will contain the bulk of records and bulk of leads. So all the leads are getting to the Trigger.new. So that's why it always says that whenever you are designing a trigger, you need to also design the trigger for the bulk of records, not for the single records. Means your logic will work for the bulk of records. Likewise, we can also create a bulk of record in this one, because previously we studied something in our subject class. Where is the subject class? If we open classes, SOQL D3 day 2. Where we define the insert, update, delete. Yeah, Salesforce objects. Yeah, Salesforce object class. In Salesforce object class, you see, we inserted the 3 contact at the same time. In a list, we added and created 3 contact at the same time. So that is also a bulk of. We are creating 3 records at the same time. So that is the reason that always we have to work with the loop. not with a single record at a time. So let's suppose that I need to create 3 lead at the same time. So I will just go ahead and create a lead. Sorry, list. I'll forget that. Lead is equals to new. Okay. Now let's create lead object. Not lead record. Let's say for the lead record. Okay. So lead record dot first name Johnny, last name and let's plus with that system.now. Why I'm doing that? I just want to know the differences. So because I can copy paste the thing. So I just lead first name, last name, and then a lead phone number. One extra. Okay. And then same concept that we did earlier, that lead list dot add. Previously we did for the contact. So here we just do for this one. Let's also redo for the second. And change. And for the third, Journey Kim Lay. Okay. I just do the random and then I will insert the lead. So that is the case that we are creating 3 leads at the same time. So let's execute it. Required field missing. Oh, company is missing. Company we haven't populated because for creation of a lead, company field is required. So let's add the company. Lead from LF dev console. Lead from dev console. That is our company. Now let's execute. Line number 6. Oh, forget to add semicolon. So I execute it. Now it will create 3 leads. Okay, 3 leads. Let's check the logs. So you can see these 3 leads are created. We haven't put the email, so that's why it's come as a null. But we added the first name, last name, so it's pops up. And it's if I go to here and want to see, let's short it on the basis of created date. Yeah, LF dev console, 3 records are got created, and our trigger is also run for those all 3 records. So that is the reason that it always says that always try to design the trigger to work with the bulk of records. So this is our second best practice, said that design trigger to work with
bulk of records.
Bulk of records. Okay. Design
Using
trigger.
loop.
What is? Yeah, using
Loop.
using collection variable. Okay, collection. Okay, collection contains the loops, list, map, and all the stuff. Okay, all the things. So collection is a general term. Collection variables. Okay, so that is how loop is working with. Now let's perform some operation. Means let's do something. We haven't did anything. We just debug the things and check that how the loop is working in the trigger and how we can see the values inside the trigger once it's executed. Now let's perform some example. So let's suppose that let me go back to the lead and phone is present, title, lead source. Okay, let's talk about a requirement. Requirement. When a lead is created, okay, and having when a lead is created without email address, okay, when a lead is created without an email address, then we have to populate the lead with email address such that email is equals to last name plus @ plus domain name from website. And if website is not present, then throw an error. No, don't throw an error. What should we do? If the website is not present, then throw an error. It says no email address present. Okay, we got a requirement that is a common requirement that's little bit tweaked, but it's a requirement. Actual requirement belongs from an actual requirement. So we have a lead created inside Salesforce. So if a lead is created without an email address, that we just seen that whenever the lead is created, if the lead created without an email address, then we need to populate the lead. Meaning we need to add the lead. System will automatically create the email for that. Okay, we need to automatically create an email for it, and that email is equals to last name plus @ meaning it's last name domain name. Okay, last name domain name. Do you know what is domain? Anyone, guys, you guys know what is domain, right? Or no? If you don't know, let me know. Are you guys know or no? Yes or no?
Yeah, if it's like a government agency or if it's a university, right?
No, that is not something domain. Domain is something like just suppose that I'm typing www.
It's
Amazon.
a unique ID name.
Okay, so we have a www.amazon.com or .in is a website, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so if website is equals to https www.amazon.com. Okay, that is the website. So here domain name is amazon.com. Only amazon.com is our domain name.
So the domain name is amazon.com, not just .com.
No. Amazon.com.
Okay.
Okay, so that is known as a domain. Got it?
Yeah.
Similarly, just like the Salesforce.com. So Salesforce.com is a domain name. Anything means without HTTPS, without this HTTPS, without www, whatever the syntax is present, it's known as a domain name. So that is the, so it will be become, so last name will be last name amazon.com. Okay, it will be something like that. Email will automatically will create. So we will do some in this code how to achieve this one. So first we need to check that if the lead is created without email address, that's the first catch we need to do. So without email address means that lead email is blank. Okay, lead email is equal to null. That we know, we see earlier in our developer console that if the lead is blank, it shows null. So that is the one way to check the email, to check the null, or there is a standard way to also check the null, and that is the string dot is blank. Okay, is blank. So that is the standard way to check field is blank or no. So if a string is blank means lead email is blank, then perform. So that is our first testing, created without email address. Lead is created without an email address. So that is the first thing. Lead is created without email address. Now, since lead is created without an email address, so now we have to populate the lead equals to last name plus domain name. So first we need to calculate the domain name from the website. And it says that if website does not have, if website does not present, meaning if website is also blank, then we need to throw an error. So let's do this one. Again, we need to check that if website is also blank, meaning a string dot one, then throw error. Website is lead dot website. Okay. If website is also blank, then throw error. Okay. Then we need to throw error. How we can throw the error? Error is just something like that. Lead ld dot add error. That's it. And in this one, we just need to throw the error that no email address present. So let's check till now how it's looked like. Okay. I save the information. So it's checked that if lead is email is blank and website is also blank, then throw the error. So first check it. So if we are good with that, then this part is done. Then we have to just work on this part. So let's create a lead. Okay. So first test one. So I'm going to make the email is blank, and okay, where is the website? Yes, website is on. Both are blank. So it's supposed to have throw me an error. Okay, it's throwing in an error that hey, website no email address is present. And let's suppose that if I add the error, add the what is that website, then what it will do? It goes well and save the information. So it means that our half part is working fine. This part, half part is working fine. Now we need to see that if the email, if website is not blank, okay, meaning else. Else we have to, what we have to do? We need to calculate the email is equals to last name plus domain of the website. Okay. Last name, email is equals to domain from the website. So it means that we need to calculate the domain first. So first calculate the so string domain is equals to lead.website. So how the domain name is found? Domain name is found something like that. www. First there is a www, and it will after the www. So we will do from there, or we can also calculate in a way that .com. This two we keep, and rest of them we remove. This two we keep, and this one we will remove. This is our website part, and it will be separated with domain dot. size. Now calculate the domain. First, website parts dot get length -2 dot so this will be our domain part. Let me debug this one so you guys are more clear with this. So I will make it website parts here, and then domain. Now let's calculate the email. So lead ld dot email. Email is equals to last name ld dot last name plus @ plus domain name. Now let's create a lead. I'm going to clone this lead. Mr. Hopper, www.google.com. It's a special character, so we need to put a double forward slash. Okay, let's execute this one. So I save it. After saving the information, as you can see, it's the email address is automatically get populated. sing@gmail.com. Last name @gmail google.com. And if I look at the code, let's review the code. This one. Okay, so first name is Hopper, saying email is null. So once email is null, okay, once email is null, so it will get into this one. Our website is have some value, so it will not get into this part, and it will exclude and come up here. So first time I split the website with dot. Dot is a special character, so that's why we need to add a 2 forward slashes before the dot. So we add it here, and it will give me website parts. Website parts looks like this, meaning www.google.com. All the means www.google.com is split into the 3 parts because I split that word into 3 parts with the help of dot operator, because they are connected with each other with www.google.com. So with the help of a dot operator, I split them into the 3 parts. Now, once it's get split into 3 parts, I need to just extract the last 2. So in order to extract the last 2 parts, what I have to do, I just need to extract length -1 will give me the last, and length -2 will give me the last second. Because length is a total number of characters. Total number of characters is our total number of not character, total number of parts. So that is 3, and 1 length -1 will give me the last part, and length -2 will give me the last second part. After that, we just join it, all the parts together, and we get the email. So this is the way that how we can resolve it, how we can solve. Now in this code we just use, and now if I go ahead and create a multiple uh, leads, it doesn't matter. It will allow me to create it. No issue in that. Okay. Last time we designed this one. Instead of system.now here, I will move this one. Okay, let's execute. No email address present. Custom validation exception because it does not have any website. Let's add a website. www.devconsole.com. Again executed. So let's check. So records are created, and I also see their email address are get populated. And if I check it in my developer console, click on the debug log, I see that website parts for each. So for each record, it's calculated one by one and populate the email address in a respective field. So this is how we work with the before insert. Before insert, we are making changes on the lead self record. Whenever the lead is created, we are making changes on the lead itself. So that is the one of the example of how we work with the lead record, means how we work with the before insert type. Any question?
No.
So general usage of the triggers is to verify before execution, verify something like their domain is correct or something else, right? Just for verification, because we need a domain and you're looking for domain parts to make sure we have that part of domain.
Yeah, generally we are also, that is a one part of trigger, means we are using also why trigger is important. Okay. Why trigger means this is also a part of that we can check the validation in the inside the trigger. Okay, that is the part. And that is also one of the major difference between the flow and a trigger. That sometime you're into ask that what is the difference between the flow and trigger.
So it's basically the same thing like hooks in Java, right? Before hook, after hook.
Yeah, so just yes, correct.
Okay.
So means that is the also because the flow does not allow us to check the validation. That is the major limitation inside the flow, that it will not allow us to check the validation. Okay, so that is the one of the limitation inside the flow. That is just you cannot check the validation with the help of a flow. Let's suppose that I need to check it that if the website is blank, throw an error. The flow cannot do it, but the trigger can. So that's why the trigger is so powerful then.
Would you give another examples like this is insert? So I mean another examples of usage. So this one is for validation. What other things we can do? It's just like basic little testing, correct? Just to validate something. What other examples could be?
Other examples could be, let's suppose that we are creating a task record, or we are creating